The notion that somehow radical Islam would be comfortable with simply controlling some province in Iraq or Syria is just not borne out by history. Radical Islam has shown that their desire is not simply to occupy one part of the world and be happy with their own little caliphate. They want to expand. It's revolutionary in its nature. It seeks to expand and control more territories and more people.
Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, is making that argument about radical Islam. As we are all witnessing, Israel annexed land from Syria, from Gaza, from the West Bank, Lebanon. What is he even talking about? But guys, see, this is how the United States government, which is occupied by the Israeli government, works. They need the squirrel to distract you from the actual bad actor here. And of course, the punching bag that we, the United States, have historically funded and propped up is radical Islamists. Now, what do I mean when I say we prop up and fund? Oh, I'm gonna take you for a little ride. Let's take you for a little ride. Because there were extremists in the White House not too long ago. Who am I talking about? This guy. His name used to be Mohammed al-Jalani, and there used to be a $10 million bounty on his head by the United States because he was an al-Qaeda terrorist who was trying to kill our soldiers in Iraq. But if I remember correctly, we were not only arming him and his group in Syria in an effort to oust Bashar al-Assad, we're now totally helping him launder his reputation as if he wasn't one of the extremists who was trying to kill Americans in Iraq. It's incredible. Now, al-Sharaa is the new leader of Syria, and Trump sure does love his extremists. Take a look.
How did you find the Syrian president?
Right. I think very good. Young, attractive guy, tough guy. You know, strong pass, very strong pass fighter.
Is that working?
But he's got a real shot at pulling it together.
Strong, attractive guy. Man, like Trump is such a gooner. Like he, even when he sees a hot guy in his mind, I don't think al-Sharaa, no, not for me. It's for other people. For Trump, apparently. Can't help himself from commenting on his good looks. I know that we're supposed to just buy that he's a moderate now. I mean, he was all about killing American soldiers not too long ago. And his group of terrorists in Syria are still killing various ethnic groups and people like the Alawites, Druze, Christians. But let's just pretend like we're all good now because he's willing to bow his head. He's not friends with Iran. That's the most important thing, right? That he's not an ally of Iran like Bashar al-Assad was. So yeah, sure. I mean, he did try to kill American soldiers and he was a terrorist with al-Qaeda. But he's nicer to Israel, so that's okay. As Jake Sullivan said, as al-Qaeda was being armed by the United States in Syria, al-Qaeda is not our enemy. They're our allies in Syria. It's disgusting. Now, even little Marco couldn't pass up a photo opportunity with the reformed terrorist. That's the video you're watching right now. Wow. Isn't Marco Rubio standing next to a guy that I should be super scared of? I mean, I thought radical Islamic extremists are what we should all worry about. Why were they in the White House? And by the way, that's not it. So I want to be very, very clear about something. We do have a history of arming all sorts of terrorist groups when it's convenient for us or when it's convenient for our ally Israel. And then when they're no longer convenient, we fearmonger about them to the United States, to the American people. And it's a great distraction from what Israel's up to in the Middle East. Because if you want to talk about empire building, if you want to talk about stealing land, right now, at this moment, Israel is doing it and they're doing it with our money and our weapons. But they don't want us to talk about that. Okay, so I'll talk about I'll talk about Muslim extremists. That's okay. If they want me to do that, I'll do that. So why don't we talk about the other Muslim extremist that was in the White House just recently? And that's the butcher, better known as Mohammed bin Salman, the very man who ordered the assassination and dismemberment of US resident and Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi in 2018. He recently visited the White House, and man, Trump really gets fired up if his favorite terrorist is being asked difficult questions from American journalists. Take a look.
Your Royal Highness, the US intelligence concluded that you orchestrated the brutal murder of a journalist. 9/11 families are furious that you are here in the Oval Office. Why should Americans trust you?
You're mentioning somebody that was extremely controversial. A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about. Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen, but he knew nothing about it. And we can leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question like that.
Yeah, don't be mean to the terrorists that we like here in the United States because his country has agreed to provide a lot of money to my son-in-law's hedge fund. And I've got my own dealings in Saudi Arabia as well. So the butcher's okay with us. The butcher's okay. Yeah. The US and Israel like to prop up actual extremists and terrorists. So we all have this boogeyman to obsess about while, the real culprit in empire expansion is Israel. I just want to be very, very clear about that because I'm sick of the lies and I'm sick of the gaslighting. The militant group in Gaza known as Popular Forces, led by Abu Shabab, has been funded by Israel, is currently being funded and armed by Israel. And Netanyahu got caught doing it, so he had no choice but to concede, to confess that that's what's been going on. This is the group that's been looting Gaza's humanitarian aid. And then, of course, Israel will blame Hamas for doing it, even though reporting in the New York Times clarified that it's not Hamas. And of course, Israel blamed Hamas for why they're carrying out a genocide, even though they're the ones who propped up the very group that they're now fear-mongering about. And if you don't know what I mean, let me take you to a video dating all the way back to 2009 featuring former Congressman Ron Paul.
If you look at the history, you'll find out that Hamas was encouraged and really started by Israel because they wanted Hamas to counteract Yasser Arafat. And you say, well, yeah, that was better then and served its purpose, but we didn't want Hamas to do this. So then we as Americans say, well, we have such a good system, we're going to impose this on the world. We're going to invade Iraq and teach people how to be Democrats. We want free elections. So we encourage the Palestinians to have a free election. They do, and they elect Hamas. So we first, indirectly and directly through Israel, help establish Hamas. Then we have an election. Then Hamas becomes dominant, so we have to kill them. It just doesn't make sense. During the 80s, we were allied with Osama bin Laden, and we were contending with the Soviets. It was at that time our CIA thought it was good if we radicalized the Muslim world.
I know that there are variations in, libertarian thought. And when it comes to their economic positions, I think that's where I have the deepest disagreements with them. But man, they tend to hit the mark perfectly when it comes to foreign policy. And Ron Paul was absolutely correct there. Now, I want to cue up the cold open because I want you to hear from Marco Rubio one more time before we get to our very last video, because I want you to remember what he has accused Muslims of doing. Take a look.
The notion that somehow radical Islam would be comfortable with simply controlling some province in Iraq or Syria is just not borne out by history. Radical Islam has shown that their desire is not simply to occupy one part of the world and be happy with their own little caliphate. They want to expand. It's revolutionary in its nature. It seeks to expand and control more territories and more people.
That's what Marco Rubio wants you to be very scared about. But what's actually happening right now in the Middle East? Why don't we take a little trip to the West Bank?
Here in the Israeli-occupied West Bank, a Palestinian family is being forced out of their home. The family say they are being threatened by a Jewish settler. The person the Shtaya family accuse of leading the violence against them is this settler, Moshe Sharvit. He has become known in the area for his aggressive actions against Palestinians, frequently captured in mobile phone footage filmed by Israeli peace activists. Since the war in Gaza began, locals say Moshe is responsible for forcing families, including the Shtayas, to leave the Hamra area.
Gee, I wonder which group is trying to steal land because they're not satisfied with the area that they're already occupying. The Trump administration has betrayed this country in more ways than one. Jonathan Pollard, who was convicted for spying on the United States on behalf of Israel, he worked for the CIA. He served 30 years in prison. I believe he should have, upon conviction, been given the death penalty. I've obviously changed my opinion on the death penalty because I think if you're a traitor to this country, that should be the punishment, obviously with a conviction. But you want to know what Jonathan Pollard just a few months ago was bragging about in an interview in Israel? He was bragging about the fact that when Henry Kissinger, of all people, was trying to rein in Israel's barbarism and threatened US foreign aid unless Israel, maybe calm down a little bit, maybe kill fewer people. He was threatened with nukes. And you want to know what Jonathan Pollard said? Maybe we need to use that threat more often against the United States, guys, against the United States. Jonathan Pollard was released when he should have served his entire life in prison, but he was released after 30 years. And he had very strict parole conditions that did not allow him to leave this country. The Trump administration eased those parole restrictions. Pollard got onto Sheldon Adelson's jet, traveled to Israel, and was warmly embraced by Benjamin Netanyahu. These people are traitors to the country, and they have the freaking audacity to point fingers at others. Don't buy it.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.